recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games.
Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at ZEDGamesAU.
This is 4ZZZ. You're listening to Z Games. I am your host for the night, Paul. And joining me is my wonderful, lovely friend, Hazel.
Hazel.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm into mispronunciation tonight.
You are?
Oh, my brain is melting. I
can see it pouring out of your ears like wax right now.
I decided to burn all candles from all ends in the last couple of days and pack in as much things as possible. So I'm literally running into the studio. We're still trying to find the tracks of the things I plan to play.
He's not making that up. He's got his laptop here and he's been furiously tapping away for the past half hour.
Yeah, because I got to get the stuff I want anyway. Because there's a few things to talk about and such, we might do a little jump into the newsies. Does that sound lovely?
It sure does. News. I've been practicing. I'm getting on there. Anyway, this week in gaming news. First off the bat, Warner Brothers is announced shutdowns of 3 of their developers, most notably Monolith Productions. If you do not know the history of Monolith, they are about 30 years old now. Mm-hmm. Starting off with games like Blood and Shogo Mobile Division and the amazing No One Lives Forever, which is still in legal jeopardy, so the only way you can get it is through abandonware because nobody who knows who has all the rights. Lots of people have bits of rights. It's a first person shooter, the Bondy thing, except you're Kate Archer, and it's very funny. And now we'll never have that resolved.
Yeah, we'll never find that out. So yes, also most recently the Shadow of Mordor games, which were extremely well received, and since then Warner Brothers has had them working on a Wonder Woman game, which has been rebooted a number of times and now has just been outright cancelled and the developer let go.
Whoa.
So that isn't great. Also, they let go Player First Games and Warner Brothers San Diego. Player First were the studio behind Multiverses, which they were really high on, and they bought them and they said, you guys are great. And then Multiverses didn't quite work out and fired them all.
It's still up on the stores as far as I know. Are they just
down.
killing it?
No. Oh, so, I don't have the dates with me, but yes, it's after this season, you can't purchase it anymore. There will be a final update that allows offline play, which I find weird. If they're going to let it be a local multiplayer game, why not sell it as a local multiplayer game?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I never got around to getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fine. Some people liked it, but not enough, obviously.
Maybe I could have saved it. Oh, no.
Also in big news this week, big news for the UK, Bellatrix and Luck Be a Landlord have won their appeal against getting a PEGI 18 plus rating. This ratings were brought in because of gambling laws that have come in, which pretty much say if you represent gambling in your game, that gives it an automatic 18 plus. And both these games, whilst especially Bellatrix is very much themed on poker, it is kind of actually an anti-gambling game and in no way represents actual gambling or the traps of it as such. Although I guess in its own way it is quite addicting. So,
oh yes, everybody I know who has gotten into it has like a chronic Bellatrix addiction. I've got a coworker who just spends all of his lunch break just tapping away on his phone. He'll have a whole conversation with me just tapping away. And I'm like, Bellatrix again? And it's Bellatrix every time.
But he's 18 plus, right?
I hope so.
Well, now 12-year-olds can do it in the UK.
I guess PEGI's also wider in Europe, isn't it? Anyway, that doesn't matter. Smaller things going on. Fable has been delayed yet again until next year, which didn't come as a huge shock because we haven't really seen a lot of the game. Weirdly, though, they did release a bunch of like alpha footage of the game in a very unceremonious way, just unedited couple of clips, kicking a chicken.
Just like reminding you that, oh, we're still making it, don't worry.
Yeah. Considering they hadn't really shown like actual gameplay, it was very scripted things they'd shown previously. Like, this is how you decide to... Anyway, fine. It looks fine. Hopefully it'll be a good game. There's a mysterious countdown for Tony Hawk. Let's see, as the time is, what is the current time? In 4 days, 15 hours, 47 minutes, and 33 seconds, we will find out what on earth this countdown is for. And what it is for is...
it's Tony's new podcast.
That would be good.
After he killed the old one.
So, for a slight hint, the date this is being released, at least American-wise, is 03/04/25, because it is obviously Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. And it's even been rated in Singapore now. The
world's worst kept secret.
Everyone try to act surprised. They've worked really hard on this. Maybe. I think Iron Galaxy is doing the port, actually, so hopefully that...
Well, 1 and 2 was fantastic.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And 4 is the Tony Hawk game that I grew up with.
Yeah.
So...
Here's the sad thing. So I probably played a lot of 2, but then my most played Tony Hawks are probably American Skateland on the DS and Downhill Racing on the Wii. No, Downhill Jam.
Downhill Jam. American Wasteland and Downhill Jam. I grew up with Pro Skater 4, and then I got really into Tony Hawk's Underground.
Oh yeah. Well, that was before they made the obvious 3 and 4 remarks. There was still the rumor that it could be Thug and Thug 2.
I mean, we already have Thug Pro, so who needs it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
not that we talk about every game that gets revealed, but I just wanted to talk about Samurai Pizza Cats. That's right. Samurai Pizza Cats, of all you old... Well, I'm not a boomer, I'm a millennial.
This is huge for people in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah. So it was it's one of those productions which took a Japanese cartoon and then brought it over, gave it a new script, and called it something else, and made it a bit wackier. So that's what I grew up with the pizza cats getting fired out of their pizza house. But they're making...
When are we going to get a Street Sharks game, though?
Oh, Biker Mice from Mars. Although I think there is a Biker Mice from Mars game. God, that's...
Yeah, didn't that happen not too long ago? Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's not reminisce on that. The interesting thing is they're being super, super, super accurate with the animation. It looks like the old show, cleaned up, right? All the tone is everything right. They're also getting back all the original voice actors, not just for the English show, but for the Japanese show, which, as I just said, was a different show. So there's going to be some weird meta crossover between these characters that are different characters in different countries, and
but they look the same.
Yeah, for a little it looks like a solid beat 'em up. It's got a lot of effort going into it, so I'm quite interested in that. And then just coming up in game releases, we've just got 2 big ones, and the first one's a very big one. Coming out tomorrow, as many of you will be aware, is Monster Hunter Wilds on PC and Xbox and PlayStation platforms.
Yeah.
And then on March 5th, there's 2 Point Museum, if you're into some museum management.
I'm not.
Oh.
But I'll give it a try.
And that brings us to the end of news. We also have a little bit of a PSA, which we should have done at the top of the show, which is if you're in Brisbane and you're listening to us and you're not at Netherworld, what's wrong with you? We are having a local indie dev night there back in the karaoke. What's the karaoke space called again?
Lost Souls.
The Lost Souls Karaoke. So a bunch of local developers are showing off their stuff, and it's all pretty much new stuff that hasn't had public showings yet. So pop in, say hello, look at some games, chat to some people. Oh, yeah, well, we are literally missing out
right now, so you better get down there.
You can listen to us as you travel there.
Yeah.
And then
but we'll be going for the next few hours.
So. So check that out. This is Zed Games. I am your host, Paul, and joining me is Hazel. And, as you may have
herd just come in rudely.
Yes.
Maylee.
You can't keep me out.
Busting in.
Yeah. Busting all over the place.
Like the Kool-Aid man just, oh yeah, through the wall.
I get that comparison a lot.
Every single door I walk through in my life, I imagine kicking open. It's not normally practical, and I feel I just hurt my foot. But the other day at work, there was a door in front of me that was a push bar to open, and I realized, oh my God, here we go. Booted it open with the biggest smile on my face, scared the living hell out of the people that were on the other side. This grinning maniac booting a door open. But it was fun. Speaking of fun, that brings it up to one of our favorite times of the show. Video games. I played one. Now I'm going to talk about it. Really can't compose myself because I'm a little bit stupid. Hey! Okay. One of my best. I am going to talk about a little game called Cabernet, which is by Party for Introverts, which is a lovely name. So Cabernet, out on pretty much every platform, is a RPG visual novel, riding that sort of line. I'll put it on the visual novel side of it, but, you know, you've got stats, you walk around. So you are Lisa, or it's Liza, but they do say Lisa.
Liza?
No, they say Lisa most of the
They
time.
shouldn't. They should
And I'm
say
like,
Liza.
Yeah, I want to get at least a Liza in there. Anyway, so you start dead. Game starts on your grave. And my favorite part is it has your name, the year you're born and died, but then it also has like which stats you've invested in. I'm like, well, I'm not quite sure that's on most gravestones, but why not? So then you awaken as a vampire. This is based in a sort of a fictional 19th century Eastern European area. And you've awakened and you don't know what's going on. You're in a dungeon and someone lets you out and you enter the vampire society. Now, those earlier stats I talked to you about, they're not your typical stats. They're more your personality and educational traits. So it's you could be in science, art and literature, history, and a fourth one, which I could have made a note of, but
Video games.
And video games. So these are basically used for skill checks in conversations. So you actually drive the character around. It's a very sort of paper cutout style animation. And yeah, you enter your vampire society. And the Cabernet in the title, if you can't think about why they would have a red drink for a vampire game, is that's what the vampires call sort of their supplied blood. There's like a high end that you can get in a bottle. And say if you've been punished and had your fangs pulled out or something, you might only be able to get the stuff from the bottle. And that stuff is expensive. So you might already see we're going to have some run-ins with things like substance abuse and stuff like that coming to the game. So there's a few trigger warnings at the beginning. I didn't find any of the content too extreme in that way, but it certainly touches on those things, and self-harm and there's suicide in there as well, and a few other little things. But the game will post that right at the beginning if you're sensitive to those sorts of things. So how does it play? Well, you can be quite active in the game. As I say, you get to walk around. Each night, you get to perform 3 actions. But most actions you do don't actually count as an action. It's sort of like a big choice you make each night. It's like, will I talk to this person? This person has a mark. So generally, you can walk around. You have full access to vampire powers. So you can turn into a bat pretty much whenever you want, as long as no one's looking at you. You can go invisible. You can feed from people. Feeding from people sort of involves them having to trust you to a degree. So you have to build a relationship and chat to them, and and it sort of pins your good and bad between humanity and nihilism, which I like a bit more because I don't like good and evil doesn't really fit in this world. Like you're vampires and you'll drink blood. Yeah. You can drink from bunnies if you want. I actually was really disappointed. The first person I was told to drink, the character automatically said, no, I don't think I'm like, no, I'm down. I had to wait till later until I was allowed to do that. Yeah. That's not how I was playing at all. I'm like, no. Look, I'm going to value all life equally, but in that, it means I don't value anyone particularly. So as you may tell, my run was quite nihilistic.
Yeah. But
that said, your character is a nurse and works as a doctor, and you were turned by a doctor and you are now their assistant. So it runs in that fun world of like, okay, you're a monster of the night, but actually you're still part of society and you're actually helping people. And maybe you're helping people to get close to them so you can drink their blood.
Hello, nice.
It's I'm going to call it a medium length sort of visual novel. You're looking at your sort of 12-ish hours sort of to get through, which is a good length for a game that you may want to revisit and play around with some of the options. Like, you're very clearly locked off from things in the dialogue choices. It's like, oh, I didn't invest enough in history. I don't know about this. Can't do that. So yeah, you have your big choices, little choices. The characters are all pretty well drawn. And one of the things that's quite rare in sort of an indie visual novel is it's fully voiced. And it's pretty good on the whole. Main character's very good. Most of the major side didn't really have anyone that grated on me. And sometimes I find that's just nice when I want to play a visual novel because I'm sleepy, but my sleepiness makes reading more difficult. So I can push it a few minutes more longer than that. But yeah, it's a charming game. You can befriend a cat. You can do some horrible things, but I would say in the realm of horribleness, not extreme horrible. Just
normal vampire horror.
Anne Rice horrible.
Yeah.
This is Anne Rice adjacent. You know, everyone's... Oh, actually, that's one thing I really like. You got a wardrobe and you collect dresses. And all those dresses have... not only do they sort of give you a presentation, but they give you stat changes too.
Nice.
So it's like, this one makes people think I'm all fancy.
That's real, though.
And that brings us to the end of my review of... What was it called again? Cabernet.
Riesling.
Yeah. And as I say, available on Steam, Switch, and PlayStation and Xbox. So
Pinot Grigio.
Give me a... I was trying to think what I could pronounce. Like I just call it a rose. Yeah. And
Maylee.
the most wonderful Maylee, who has something very wonderful for us right now, which is a
review. My girlfriend died and I got sad. I got really depressed.
She's dead in the ground, yeah.
But maybe she's not. That's not me. That's the
spoon?
game. I just want to clarify.
Your girlfriend's not dead.
My
You don't
girlfriend
have
is
some
not
really
dead.
big news for us?
I wasn't celebrating about it.
That'd be really messed up.
It would be really messed up if that was how you told us, but it's not.
I was channeling my favorite Bob's Burgers song, which is dead in the ground, just like Harry Truman.
Oh, yes. That's a good one. Good
Anyway,
choice.
so what are we talking about, Maylee?
We're talking about After Love EP, which is a kind of similar game to Cabernet. Not in that there's vampires or anything like that, but that it is a visual novel. Ish.
Maylee and I actually planned to make this a visual novel episode.
Yeah.
But the original one I was going to review has another week of embargo, so I had to play another game.
But another similarity is that both games start with death. I don't start off dead. So you play as Rama, who is the frontman of a band. Sigmund Feud is the band name. Mm-hmm. And it made me giggle, but whoever wrote that really brings it up a lot in the game. They want you to think it's very funny.
They were very proud of their pun, and
Yes.
we're just like, yes.
So you're having a good time with your bandmates, and then your girlfriend dies in the first scene of the game. And the game takes place a year later, after you have isolated yourself from everyone for a year in grief as you're just starting to emerge. And it's basically the story of, coming out of grief and what it does to a person, but also like the shitty ways that can make you act to other people. And I guess that is the biggest point of this game, is that you're kind of like Rama, the person you play, is very frustrating, and I don't like him. He's a jerk.
Yeah. But is he a jerk in like a way that's good to experience?
Yes. I was compelled by this story. So you are Rama. You're a sad boy with a guitar, and you've come out and
I
connected
relate.
connected with your old bandmates, and you're like, hey guys, I've been MIA for a few years now. Let's get the band back on tour. But they've all been moving on with their lives. So you end up in a bit of a jam that you have to make things work with your band in the next month, or they'll be leaving. So the game takes place over these 30 days before your big gig that will determine your future. And I guess the big thing that really stands in your way over these 30 days is that you are hearing the voice of your dead girlfriend in your head everywhere you go. And Rama sort of struggles with this, not knowing if it's real or like his imagination. By the end of the game, you know, it leans into one of those paths. But he is the sort of guy who's just talking to his, you know, when a character is talking to someone that only they can hear and then they get confused why everyone's asking them what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. He does that every time in every scene.
He can't learn. He's incapable.
Yes. Sorry, I'm getting off on that.
Well, we've learned something about Maylee.
Too frustrated with Rama. So basically, you're getting back your band. So over these 30 days, you are reconnecting with your friends and new friends and possibly love interests, and trying to reconnect with your music. So there's a lot of rhythm game mini games throughout it.
Yeah, how are the rhythm game aspects? Because I touched them briefly in the demo, but I didn't really.
They are very easy.
Uh-huh.
They are insanely easy. Rhythm games are one of the types of games that I struggle with the most. I just can't. It's not for me. But I got perfect on all but one song because they're that easy.
Oh, you're that wonderful.
No, I think they're just really easy, which I imagine would be frustrating for someone who went to it for the rhythm game aspect. So I wouldn't recommend that. But I think it's, if you are interested because of the visual novel grief story aspect, then that's really interesting. It also is like a really interesting visual and story representation of Jakarta because it takes place there. And it's like hand-drawn, really detailed, very, you know, like urban center, but very pretty environments. And it also talks a lot about the different parts of the youth in that culture, and like the people you meet are all artists of some form. Some are like chefs or photographers or models, a lot of musicians, and it's really interesting to dive in that world. It's especially interesting because you can, if you so choose to give Rama a gay awakening, and he will find a boyfriend.
We call it a awakening.
Awakening.
Okay.
Which led to my favorite part of the game was when my dead girlfriend yelled at me and called me a stupid. You're totally a stupid twink. Just incredible game.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
And it grapples with a lot of interesting stuff in the queer culture in Jakarta and the arts culture in Jakarta, as well as the grief. And yeah.
Well, it is an interesting game from that it is a game about grief in that, because the creative director of it,
yes,
Mohammed Fahmy, who also created Coffee Talk, he died during the production of this game.
Which is really sad.
Yeah. So they had to finish it without finish a game about grief without their leader who passed on. So it's like, yeah, to hear that it is, you know, it is complex in that way and interesting in that way is good. And hopefully, you know, it matches what his vision was.
I knew that, like, as I was playing through, and I felt it as I was playing through. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe it would have been just as connected to grief. But it felt really... Yeah.
I think you can tell when something like that has happened during the production. Yeah. And you can feel it come through in the emotion that's poured into everything.
Yeah. I will wrap it off because I could go on about what a jerk this game makes you for a long time, but it is good. he has character growth if you choose to give it to him. He also cannot, because there's multiple endings in this game. Take lots of different ways, get lots of different romance endings. I'd say it's about 6 hours to get through, so shorter than most, well, on the short end of visual novels. Yeah.
That's my bite-sized ones.
Yeah,
In a
it's
little
nice.
novella before bed. Anyway, so and it's also available on all platforms.
Yeah.
Woo! West Side and Lonely.
We're grieving and undead.
Does all platforms include the Commodore 64?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you can put it on top of it, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder, if you are around Fortitude Valley and near Netherworld, pop in tonight and check out the local game dev night we've got going back there in Lost Souls Karaoke. I can guarantee you it will be there.
Wow. What a ringing endorsement. We have a bunch of cool indie games from local developers, and you can go and play demos of them. And a lot of them have never been displayed publicly before. So go and give it a try.
Good fun. Play some games, meet some people. And
It'll be on for the next couple of hours. So hurry on down to Netherworld.
Pop on down. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's show. And goodbye, everyone.
We'll see you in hell.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
I'll see you in not hell. Wherever the other place.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app.
Or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.